As we told you earlier in the newscast, David Onley, a Toronto TV reporter who became Ontario's Lieutenant Governor, passed away last night at the age of 72. Onley broke barriers many people thought couldn't be bent. His fight for disability justice changed perspectives and changed lives. And to those who knew him, he remained kind, generous, and genuine the entire way. Joining us now is someone who worked with him for a long time, Kathleen Wynne. She served as Ontario Premier for much of Onley's term. Thank you so much for joining us. What do you remember the most about David Onley?
I think my everlasting impression and memory of David Onley is going to be his compassion and his determination. You know, he was determined to be an activist for people with disabilities. He was determined to fight for a more inclusive society. But he was kind and he was gentle, and he was always willing to work with anyone who was on side. You know, he wasn't partisan. He just wanted to get the work done. And that was how I knew him when I first met him in the late 90s. And that was how I knew him when I was Premier.
I was very fortunate to work with him at the beginning of my career. He was passionate and driven, but incredibly humble. Are there any memories that you're thinking about tonight, Ms. Wynne?
I remember being at a downtown Toronto school. So I was a parent activist. It was in the late 90s, and I was fired up about what was going on in government at that point. And David was a reporter. And I remember being in a school that was really inaccessible. And he was very agitated, you know, he was very clear, and he kind of went out of that journalist neutral character and was talking to us about how unjust our built environment was. And that was my first sort of window on that determination that he brought to everything that he did. I didn't know him. I knew him as a reporter, but I saw the man in that moment where he was just saying, you know, this is ridiculous. Can't get into these schools. He shows up at buildings and he can't get in. And that, you know, that anger, I think, fueled the activist work that he did when he was advising Dalton McGuinty, and then when he was advising me, and then when he was Lieutenant Governor, and he would travel around the province. And he made it clear everywhere he went that we all had to do more in order to include children and adults in our society.
What legacy does he leave behind for Ontario and for Canada?
I think he leaves a legacy of determined activism. He rose to the highest office in the province, and he did it with grace, and he showed what anyone can do, no matter what their ability. And I think that was a very proud thing for him, that he was able to travel in all of these circles, from being a journalist, from being an activist, to being the Lieutenant Governor of the province. And he used that platform, and I think that the province and the country have been changed because of his determination and his modeling of that courage.
Kathleen Wynne, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your memories tonight.
It was an honor. Thank you.